There, I'm personal stylist and style expert Noelle, and welcome to another episode of Noelle Says. In these episodes, I answer your questions, style questions or anything that has caused you fashion frustration. I am here to help. And today's question is about body types and blazers and what style works best for each of the four basic body types. And to start out, the body type I usually start out talking about is a pear, because this is the most common body type. A pear, most women, when I work with them who are a pear, know that they're a pear, and they are kind of shaped like the fruit, meaning that they do have a small defined waist and then are a little bit larger on the bottom half. So they're the ones that complain, I have a small waist and it's hard to find pants that fit that, but then accommodate for a larger, wider hips and a larger derriere. Some famous pairs would be somebody like Jennifer Lopez, Kristen Davis, if you remember, she was Samantha from Sex and the City. Again, it is the most common body type, so do not fear, you are in good company. For a pear, and really any body type for a blazer, we really want something that defines a waist and is tailored. And I say that that's best for every body type because a blazer is probably the best thing for doing that, and defining a waist is always slimming. And so this is why a blazer will always make a list when I have to narrow down my core wardrobe list of the basic pieces every woman should own from 15 down to 10 down to 5 down to 3. A blazer will always be on that list. So if you're a pear, you can look for something actually like I have on, meaning that it comes in and defines the waist and then just kind of gently flares out. Length is important, of course. For a pear, we don't want something that hits right at like the widest part, so right here. We don't want something too short either, because then that's going to only highlight all of this. We want it to come right at the top of that, so not halfway and not below it. I know that sounds counterintuitive. That's what most people I know feel like. They want to cover it up and come beneath it, but then we're actually only highlighting that and drawing more emphasis to that area. We want to come and sit and have the blazer sit right above it. So length is definitely proportional with all the body types and actually any garment we put on the body. And so we do want it to be tailored. It could be something even like this blazer too. If you see, it does have some, definition to it. Now moving on from a pear, the opposite of kind of being a little more bottom heavy would be top heavy. A lot of times that is called an apple or an inverted triangle. Usually these are the women that have kind of broader shoulders, sometimes a larger bust, but a large bust does not a body type make. A body type is determined by 3 things. It is your shoulders, your waist, and then your hips, and the ratio of those 3. I'm not really of the such, set specific guidelines that if your waist is, difference of 5 or more or 6 or more inches from your waist to your hips, you fall in this category. It's kind of just look for the general shape. If I was wearing this blazer, I might take this off and so I can look at somebody and say, okay, let me just see the line that it's making, and I can figure out what they are. So an inverted triangle or apple has very broad shoulders. They're very narrow in through here, do not have a defined waist, and very narrow on the bottom half. A famous apple would be Jennifer Garner. If you notice, she kind of does have broader shoulders. She's not real, curvy in through the waist, and narrow again on the bottom half. So the key for an apple is to pick something with kind of not a very defined shoulder, so not what I'm wearing here. Something almost like a raglan sleeve, so that gives you a little bit more room. You'll see this on very classic trenches, and that's because a trench, kind of like the Burberry style ones, are meant to be worn over a blazer. And so this style, this raglan sleeve with the seam here instead of here, gives the shoulder more room to move around. Hence it working well for an apple or that inverted triangle body type. This might be another style too. If you can tell, it's a little more, not extreme, but it's a little more of like a swing style. So it still does have some definition. It's not, like I said, totally out like this, but it isn't such as dramatic of a tailoring like this. So it will still give you some shape without looking like a box. We don't want to do that, but you still get a little extra room or softness that an apple might need. And then moving on, we have a rectangle body type, which is actually what my mom is, and many of you have seen her in many of my other videos. If you notice, she's kind of more straight up and down. There's really no definition between her shoulders, waist, and hips. Most models, even though they're twisting and turning themselves, you see them in those beach photos, you know, like in the celebrity magazines, you can tell they're very straight up and down. They're not really, they don't have a lot of defined curves. And what we want to do for them is definitely put them in something fitted with a waist, something like this. Something like this would work for them because it does define a waist. This would actually also work going back to an apple because we could unzip this a little bit. This is a little more stylized, a little more modern. And if you can tell with the apple, that's broad shoulders, this kind of draws the eye down here and keeps it here instead of keeping the eye up here, so it detracts, but in a positive way. A rectangle, going back to them, they could definitely do this because it's fitted, it has a little kind of cute, kind of a little bit of a flare and pleats here. Even just something as simple, and this is actually my mom's blazer, you may have seen it in pictures on the blog, and just a simple, kind of nice, just defined blazer, nothing exaggerated, nothing too extreme, nothing too long. And just to note that, you know, you can do it in a color. Color's really great. It doesn't always have to be in basics like black and white and gray and things like that. And then lastly, for an hourglass, they are proportion, meaning that their shoulders are the same width as their hips, and they do have a defined waist. I am actually an hourglass. So structure is key, and we always want to show off their natural proportions instead of adding any extra volume to the top or bottom half. So this is great. Another good thing would be anything fitted and really tailored. This is one of mine. You can tell even just hanging here, you can see how much it goes in, and that's partly because it has this kind of exaggerated belt. I got this at a resale shop many years ago, but it's really, really nipped in at the waist, and that is key for an hourglass. I wear everything pretty much tailored within an inch of its life because I'm trying to show off my proportions, not, like I said, add any extra fabric or bulk. So hopefully that gives you some ideas as to what to look for. Like I said, if you have any questions, please submit them in the comment section below for the next episode. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. I hope you found this helpful, and if there's somebody out there who might enjoy it too, please feel free to share it with them. And I look forward to connecting with you very soon in the next video or online.